everyone, I'm Kayla and welcome back for another episode of Monster Munchies. So the theme this week is afternoon tea, and I'm going to be making a great afternoon tea kind of snack. It's not super common here in the US. I'm going to be making crumpets, and if you don't know what a crumpet is, it's kind of like a mix between a pancake and an English muffin a little bit, but they're like nice and squishy and porous and taste really good with some butter or jam on them and are great to have with tea. So let's give it a shot. So for these crumpets, and I will be making half of the recipe that I'll be posting below, you're going to need 7 3/8 ounces of all-purpose flour, half a cup of lukewarm milk, 3/4 of a cup of lukewarm water, a tablespoon of melted butter, a teaspoon and a quarter or so of instant yeast, a half teaspoon of baking powder, and about 3/4 or so of a teaspoon of salt. You're also going to need a crumpet ring, which I don't have. I'm going to be using a biscuit cutter. And if you have more than one of these, it's probably going to be to your benefit. I only have one, so as you'll see later, this might be a little bit of a struggle. So for this recipe, we're going to be making use of my good old friend Clarence, who we haven't seen in a few episodes. He's been very sad. Basically, first what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the ingredients and put them in the bowl of your stand mixer. So I have the flour, the salt, the baking powder, the yeast, the melted butter, the warm milk, which should be warm enough that you can stick your finger in it and not have it hurt, and the lukewarm water, which again should be warm but not hot, because if it's hot it'll kill the yeast. So we're going to put that onto our good old friend Clarence, which, fun fact, I don't know if you knew, stand mixers are relatives of sea bottom fish such as flounders. Their eyes are just on one side. So we're going to let him beat them together at a fairly high speed for about 2 minutes. It would help if he was plugged in. Let's try that again. Once that's mixed itself together for about 2 minutes, I'm going to take it off the stand mixer, cover it with some plastic wrap, and let it sit for an hour and let the yeast do what it does. So in the last couple minutes of waiting for my batter to rise, I'm going to preheat a frying pan on my stovetop. You can also use a griddle set to medium-low heat. And I'm going to lightly grease that up. So after an hour, your batter will look a little bit puffy and pretty bubbly. And once the oil in your pan is nice and warm, you're going to put down your crumpet ring or biscuit cutter, or whatever you're using. Again, if you have more than one of these, it's definitely going to be a lot easier, but I just have one, so I'm going to have to stagger my cooking time. You're going to fill it up with somewhere in the neighborhood of a 1/4 cup of batter, and then you're going to let it cook for about 4 minutes at first until you're going to remove the ring. So I'm going to let that chill. So now it's been 4 minutes. You can see the top of the crumpets really bubbly. And I forgot to do one really important thing here. I forgot to grease my crumpet rings. So hopefully, that wasn't the biggest failure that's ever happened to me. But now we're gonna wait for that to have been on there for about 10 minutes before we flip it. So now I'm gonna put another crumpet down, and this time I have greased the ring. And after 10 minutes of cooking, I'm gonna flip these over and cook them on the other side for another like 3 to 5 minutes until the other side's kind of brown as well. And when they're done, they'll look something like this, and you can put them aside on a plate and just keep going around in a circle until your batter is gone. So here's what they look like when they're done. And as soon as these last couple are done cooking up, I'll plate one up and we'll give them a taste. It's time for tea and crumpets. Would you like some tea with your crumpets? Not interested. So Felix would not join me for tea and crumpets, but I'm gonna sit here and have some tea time for one. And these are good. They're fluffy. They have a lot of little holes in them. And they're just like a nice, not super sweet snack that goes really well with a cup of tea. So, cheers. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy your tea time, and we will see you next week. Bye! Oh no.